So that's building block number 2. That's good. Now, what if I wanted to scale that up to connect not just one apartment complex, but the entire world? So maybe the first thing I'll try is just to use building block 1, and I'll tell my poor mailman, you now have to deliver to the entire world. Well, that mailman is going to have a hard time delivering mail to the entire world all by themselves. So instead, we could try to do something more clever. Instead of having a single poor mailman deal with the entire world, we could say, here's what I'll do. I will install a post office, and then I'll connect this post office to one apartment complex, and then I'll connect the same post office to the second apartment complex. And what's great about this is now, instead of having to, for example, cross-connect all the houses with wires, I could just say, if I want to send mail from, say, this house over here to this house over here, I could have this house send the mail to the post office, and then the post office can forward the mail over to its destination. So I've introduced the idea of a post office to connect faraway towns or faraway apartment complexes. So instead of having someone crisscrossing both of these apartment complexes or having wires that directly connect every pair of houses, which would be very expensive, I just need a single wire that connects to the post office on either side. And now all of my mail from one apartment complex to the other passes through the post office, and I have scaled my network up without having to make a bunch of expensive cross connections or do other scaling that might be impractical. So if you take all the ideas we have seen so far and you scale them all the way up, you use the second building block to connect up all the apartment complexes in the world, and then you install a bunch of post offices to connect up those apartment complexes, you'll eventually be able to connect up the entire world. You need a lot of post offices and a lot of wires to do it, but with enough effort, you can get the entire world connected, and this is how you build the internet. So now we've arrived at the internet. We started with one building block, just a single wire that carries bits. We used it to connect up the local networks, and then we connected up the local networks with post offices, and that helped us arrive at the internet, which connects everybody in the world. Now, one interesting observation about the way that we have built the internet is that messages sometimes have to travel across multiple post offices before they reach their destination. So for example, if this is us and we're in California and we want to send a message to our friend somewhere in France, then maybe our mail cannot go directly to the person in France. There is no mailman that can fly across the ocean. But instead, maybe our mail goes to some post office, and then that post office puts the mail on a boat, and then the boat takes the mail to some other post office in France, and then they take the mail out of the boat and then put it in a truck, which goes to another post office, and then they unload the truck and then give it to its final destination home. So messages can now pass across multiple of these so-called post offices before they reach their destination, and that's totally fine. And that means that these post offices are responsible for receiving mail and forwarding them to get them closer to their destination. So that's just a consequence of how we built the internet.